Hey guys, this is Adam and I'm with Psychedelic Invest. Today I'm going to be giving you guys my perspective on what's been going on in the markets last month and my outlook on what we might be able to expect moving forward, as well as some companies that I'm looking at during the market sell-off. All right, so I'm going to get right into it. So basically, the last month we've seen ridiculous sell-off in all the markets in general. Tapering, inflation are the big catalysts for the sell-off, and you have a lot of highly speculative plays that aren't really generating revenue, specifically, let's say, the psychedelic sector, which are getting punished for it. I'm still very bullish on the sector in general. We all know, if you're here, you know it works. You know the medicine works, so that's what we're all here for. And I just want to kind of put things into perspective as to where my head is at in regards to everything. So we've had two big catalysts for the sector within the last couple months. The first one was Compass reported positive phase 2B results for treatment-resistant depression. And the second one is the Canadian government is now allowing physicians to legally request access to psychedelics on behalf of patients. So basically, in Canada now, doctors can prescribe psilocybin therapy to their patients. That's a huge deal. These are two gigantic sector catalysts that basically got muted or got completely disregarded because of the current uncertainty in the markets, right, in the broader markets right now. This has me even more bullish than ever on the sector itself, and I'm just really not worried in terms of where we're headed in the psychedelic sector. I'm going to look into some charts and cover some stocks or some of these psychedelic companies, and I'll just basically show you guys where I'm at and what I'm looking at, where I'm at with what I'm looking at, why I like these companies, and just where I'm speculating things to go moving forward. Okay, first we're going to start with the Russell. So basically, this is a look at the Russell. The Russell hit a high of 244.46 in November. And basically, since then, it's been selling off like crazy. This has been due to essentially inflation fears and tapering. So I think we're looking at it right here. This is the RSI. The Russell's getting very close to being oversold. Like, it's already dipped below and bounced up every time it's been too oversold. So pay attention to that. RSI is a great indicator, in my opinion, for when to buy and when to sell, or when things are too fearful and when things are too greedy. So I think that there might be a lot more sideways movement with the Russell and small caps in general for the next couple months. But I do see it recovering by, let's say, summertime. So yeah, that's the Russell. That's kind of giving you guys an overview of why the whole psychedelic sector itself has followed the Russell in selling off. It's not specific to these companies. It's just a broader market-wide thing that's happening. The first company I'm going to look at is Compass over here. So essentially Compass, they're the ones, they got into the phase 2B result. They got the positive phase 2B results, which was really, really good for them. But once again, it didn't matter. The market itself was selling off, so Compass sold off with them. Compass has about $700 million cash on hand. That's one of the main things I look for when assessing a biotech or a psychedelic company, because cash is king. The amount of cash that you have on hand is going to be your lifeline, and it's going to allow you to survive and to flourish and to push your drugs through all the phases and eventually get to market. Compass is flush with cash. They have some big money backers, and they were the first to market in regards to psilocybin therapy and putting psilocybin, or like just being they were the first to market as a psilocybin stock, and they will have that advantage. So they're essentially setting the pace for the other stocks that are moving along in the sector as well. We have Atai Therapeutics, Atai Life Sciences. Atai Life Sciences is probably my favorite company out of the bunch here. I do not have a position in Atai yet. I will be starting one at some point. Atai has about, I want to say, 400 million in cash. And they're very well funded. They have a great business model. And they are completely oversold right now, in my opinion. If you look at the RSI down here, so 70 would mean they're overbought. So that would if a company hits 70 or maybe higher, that's when I would probably consider selling. They're at 33.52. They are like they are oversold in my opinion. They are down from a high in November of $17.80. So Atai, what they like to do, first off, I like Atai because Atai is a diversified psychedelic play. Atai, what they do is they'll basically buy into these smaller companies or other companies. They have a ownership stake in Compass of, I think, 17%. Correct me if I'm wrong. Hold on, let me just verify real quick. Atai owns 20% of Compass. So Atai owns 20% of Compass. What they'll do is Atai has their own pipeline of psychedelic therapeutic candidates that they are going to push out and try and get through FDA approval. But what they also do is they invest in these other companies who are doing psychedelics or other mental health related therapeutic stuff, candidates, drugs, whatever. And they will help fund them and get them through the FDA process and open doors for them. I love this business model. It makes them very diversified, in my opinion. They're not just doing psychedelics. They're doing anything involving mental health that does not just have to do with psychedelics. As an investor, I like to see something like this. They are one of the big companies I'm looking at in this market sell-off. I think that there's a lot of value here, and if you can catch them around the price, they're at $5.05 as of closing today. I think that it's a relatively safe place to start a position, and there's a ton of upside here. They had a share lockout. That was due to expire a couple months ago, but the main investors who were going to have their shares unlocked, I guess, so that they can sell, all decided to basically, in good faith, lock their shares up for another 24 months. That's very confidence inspiring for me as an investor, because it shows that they have faith that the stock price is going to be higher 2 years from now. That's like, to oversimplify it, is if they're not selling right now, and they're willing to hold for another 2 years before they sell their shares, they know, or they're confident that the stock price is going to be much higher in 2 years. So as an investor, I like to see that. And I think Atai is going to be the biggest in the psychedelic sector, in my opinion. I really like this company. All right. Take a look at Mindmed. We have Mindmed. All these companies just following pretty much the same trajectory. And which means that they are all essentially following the Russell. So just keep that in mind. It's not a company specific thing. It is a broader market specific. It's an index specific thing. Cybin, for example, here. Cybin I like a lot too. I think that they are working on something called deuterated psilocybin, which is going to be a shorter acting, faster onset form of psilocybin. For therapeutic purposes, I really, really like what they're doing, because if you're going to have clinics who are going to do psychedelic assisted therapy, I think it makes a lot more sense to have a form of psilocybin that lasts, let's say, 4 hours instead of 8 hours, 3 hours, or maybe even 3 hours. And that way it can end up making it cheaper for insurance to pay for it, because instead of a 8-hour session or a 7-hour session or a 6-hour session, it's going to be a 3-hour session or a 4-hour session. And then just in terms of compliance for the person, it's just, I think, easier to deal with a shorter psychedelic session as opposed to a longer one. I like what Cybin's doing. I think that they will be primed for a buyout at some point in the near future. Who knows? It could be one of the big pharma companies. It could be Atai even. But Cybin is doing all the right things. Doug Drysdale is an amazing CEO. I would follow Cybin. I think I wouldn't, I wouldn't. I think I wouldn't fault you for starting a position at around $1.05. I think there is a little bit more room for them to go down, but I think you'd pretty safe to start a position at $1.05 where they closed today. All right, Numinous. So the reason I'm bringing up Numinous Wellness is because Numinous essentially they are going to benefit the most immediate from Canada's new legislation that basically it is now legal for doctors to prescribe psilocybin to patients. Numinous essentially hold on, let me get that. Is that they're identified as a psilocybin supplier by Health Canada. So this is why we saw they were struggling, and now you have a little bit of an uptick over here. Numinous is going to basically, they have a revenue source now. They're going to be a psilocybin supplier in Canada, where now it's legal for doctors to prescribe this stuff. And I think that this is going to be great for current Numinous investors, and as potential Numinous investors, I see this as still a good entry point for them. You want to invest in a company that can have maybe a moat or just some type of revenue they're generating, or just they have more cash on hand. So for Numinous, this is significant, and I like them, and they're going to benefit greatly from the legislation that just happened in Canada. Lastly, I want to go over IGXT, IntelGenx. So basically, Atai Life Sciences owns 25% of this micro-cap company that trades on the Toronto Stock Exchange. What this company does is they have oral film strips that skip first pass digestion. And what that means is that they mimic an injection. So for psychedelic purposes only right now, Atai is creating two molecules with them. One of them is going to be a psilocybin strip, and one of them is going to be a dimethyltryptamine, a DMT strip. Now, they have a huge advantage when it comes to DMT, because usually when you're ingesting DMT, you have to mix them with MAO inhibitors. So MAO inhibitors have a tendency of upsetting your stomach. If you've ever done ayahuasca before, if anyone has any experience with ayahuasca, you kind of it can really upset your stomach when you ingest the mixture, the cocktail. What the benefit of what Atai is producing with IntelGenx is if you can just put DMT on this strip, it will skip first pass digestion and just go right to your bloodstream. I think this is being severely overlooked in the psychedelic space, because this is probably going to be, in my opinion, the most efficacious way of delivering DMT for therapeutic purposes. And that's only one of the things they're working on. IntelGenx is considered a psychedelic pharma company, but they also they're diversified. Similar to the way Atai is not only doing psychedelics, they're doing anything mental health related that might not be psychedelics, that might not only include psychedelics, which I like. I want these diversified psychedelic plays. IGXT is also focused on Alzheimer's. They have an Alzheimer's medication. They have they're doing THC and CBD dissolvable strips. They're doing Cialis on a strip. They're doing Risoport, which is a migraine medicine, on a strip. And they're also doing pet medication that they're putting on a strip. So as a psychedelic speculator, I would love finding these companies that, in my opinion, are very undervalued. It's trading at 30 cents. They have a float of about 114 million shares. And basically, these companies are going to be overlooked, and I see a lot of potential here. And they have a lot of other revenue. They have a lot of others. Bear with me. They have many other avenues for generating revenue that aren't just tied to psychedelics. So it's a diversified psychedelic play. I love that when I'm speculating on psychedelic plays in general. So that's what this video is for today. I just wanted to give you guys like a brief overview of what's been going on in the markets, how it's not necessarily only psychedelic, the psychedelic sector related. It's a broader market thing. And how things might be dicey for the next couple months, but I think by the summer we should, or the summer or before the summer, we should start seeing a reversal. A lot of these companies, if you look at the RSI, which is a great indicator for if companies oversold or overbought, they're all nearing oversold territory. Numi's not so bad actually. They had that nice pump. Cybin's getting down there. We have 42 here. Atai, definitely in a good buy territory in my opinion. Compass is 42, not so bad. And if you look at the Russell itself, it's nearing oversold territory. So I think that things will be shaky for the next couple of months, a lot of sideways movement, but if you have the money and you have the long-term outlook, you can benefit greatly by averaging down or starting positions at around these prices. I know that I'm looking at Atai specifically. IGXT I already have a position in. I really like them. And Cybin. All right, that's my video today. I will have a lot more videos coming out with Psychedelic Invest for you guys. And thank you for watching. My name's Adam. Have a great day.